Galileo spent a lot of time in Venice and met a young woman of 21 by the name of Marina Gamba. She moved with him to Padua and bore him 3 children. Virginia was born in 1600, and Galileo personally wrote out her horoscope. Livia was born in 1601, and the birth certificates of both girls states father unknown or was left blank. Vincencio was born in 1606, but Galileo petitioned the health office of Padua requesting the legitimization of his son in 1619. Galileo writes that Maria Gamba was never married and was no longer living. In 1610, Galileo, at 46, secured a new appointment as chief mathematician of the University of Pisa and to the Grand Duke of Tuscany. He decided to move back to Florence, taking with him his daughters, and leaving his son Vincenzo, only 4 years old, with a nanny by the name of Marina Bartoluzza. In the meantime, Marina Gamba had remarried a man by the name of Giovanni Bartoluzza and died in 1612. After settling in Florence at Costa San Giorgio, Galileo made the decision to place his 2 daughters in the convent, having no prospects of marriage due to their illegitimacy. He decided on the Franciscan Order of Poor Clares, San Mateo, or St. Matthew Convent, near a Setri in the hills south of Florence. Because the girls were still young, Galileo needed a special dispensation which he received from Cardinal Barberini. In 1614, both girls entered the convent at San Mateo, Virginia pronouncing her final vows at the age of 16 and becoming Sister Maria Celeste, and Livia the following year, receiving the name Archangela. Living in a cloistered convent, the Poor Clares are known for their poverty, austerity, going barefoot, and prayer. Their living expenses were dependent mainly on family and close relatives and donations of the community. In many of her letters, she describes the convent life and that she has gotten used to being in poor health. A few of the meals consist of moldy bread, ox meat, and wine that turned sour. They spent many nights mending and sewing tunics, vestments, and linens for the priests. Galileo kept the letters of his daughter Virginia, which demonstrated a very close relationship of a loving daughter expressing her love, gratitude, and thanksgiving to her father. He delighted in sharing with Marie Celeste letters he received from the cardinal, who later became Pope Urban VIII in 1623. She professes her gratefulness for the gifts of fruit, meats, supplies of wine and vinegar, bolts of cloth, silk, and thread for the shirts and collars she sews for Galileo and her brother Vincencio. She also requested copies of his books, and she was happy to copy some of his drafts he sent to his friends in the scientific community. Her many duties over the years included head apothecary, choir master, teaching Gregorian chant to 4 young girls, in which she says her Latin is poor, and taking care of the sick. She was given a new job by Mother Superior, her friend, that of composing letters to well-known dignitaries for donations, and that included her dad. Maria Celeste was very astute in sizing up the character of those she loved and lived with, and many of her relatives, friends, and acquaintances who wrote or presented themselves at the gate of the convent. She made extensive requests for certain specialty items, such as a favorite white wine Sister Archangela enjoyed, or her cousin St. Louisa needing a certain type of cloth. Mother Abbess, knowing how influential her father was, requested his help in procuring donations from Rome, which the Grand Duke and Duchess fulfilled by sending 300 loaves of bread on consignment and 18 bushels of wheat. Many of the nuns could not resist asking her help in securing a favor from Galileo. In the letter dating July 8, 1629, Sister Maria is concerned for the well-being of her sister Archangela, who finds herself in poor health and also the target of the mistress of novices' black moods. She allows Sister Archangela to take over her bedroom, which is a cell, for some privacy and runs interference to try to keep the peace. Sister Maria Celeste, having no place to sleep during the night, felt like a pilgrim and was accepting any offers to share sleeping space. She was also sharing a room with the mistress of novices, but the mistress's moods and outbursts caused her lack of sleep. She writes, "Now that the tempest of our many torments has subsided somewhat, I want to make you fully aware of the event, sire, for truly I was half beside myself, shaken by the terror aroused in me and all of us by our novice mistress, who, overpowered by those moods or frenzies of hers, tried twice in recent days to kill herself. In the wake of these events, we have guarded her continuously, day and night. Maria Celeste, who with the help of Galileo, her cousin and mother abbess, was able to procure for a small sum of money the vacant cell that was now left unoccupied by the novice mistress. She no longer had to sleep on the floor. She always placed the health and well-being of her father and relatives, along with the family of the nuns, above her own, although she is admonished by Galileo to try and take care of herself. Her only complaint was that she was bound within the convent walls and couldn't care for her father when he became ill. He placed in her charge his domestic affairs, especially when he traveled to Rome, and she writes often to ask how a problem should be managed. With her talents for apothecary, she created medicines and powders, and she and Sister Louisa sent to Galileo during his stay in Rome in 1630. He also had a sweet tooth, and she is known for her delicious candies and pastries, and keeps him supplied along with her letters. In a letter dating 2nd of November 1630, she demonstrates the unarious principle of energy, and in the eye of the beholder, when she consoles her father and asks that he looks within and reflects on the critical remarks made by some of his detractors. Most beloved Lord Father, I am sure you know better than I, sire, that tribulations are the touchstone where we test the quality of God's love. Thus, to whatever extent we can patiently bear the trials he doles out, then in that same measure do we promise ourselves possession of the treasure of his love, which comprises our very good. I beseech you not to grasp the knife of these current troubles and misfortunes by its sharp edge, lest you let it injure you that way, but rather, seizing it by the handle, use it to excise all the imperfections that you may recognize in yourself, so that you rise above the obstacles, and in this fashion, just as you penetrated the heavens with the vision of a Lycene, will you, by piercing also through baser realms, arrive at an awareness of the vanity and fallacy of all earthly things, seeing and touching with your own hands the truth that neither the love of your children nor the pleasures, honors, or riches can confer true contentment, being in themselves ephemeral, but that only in blessed God, as in our final destination, can we find real peace. Galileo formed strong ties with both his daughters, but he had a special place in his heart for Virginia and often confided in her. This is one paragraph of a letter she wrote of the mental and emotional stress she felt concerning the charges of heresy advocating the Copernican theory. This is dated 3rd of October 1633. Most beloved Lord Father, I would surely not want you to doubt my devotion, for at no time do I ever leave off commending you with all my soul to blessed God, because you fill my heart, sire, and nothing matters more to me than your spiritual and physical well-being. And to give you some tangible proof of this concern, I tell you that I succeeded in obtaining permission to view your sentence, the reading of which, though on the one hand it grieved me wretchedly, on the other hand it thrilled me to have seen it and found it a means of being able to do you good, sire, in some very small way, that is, by taking upon myself the obligation you have to recite one time each week the 7 Psalms, and I have already begun to fulfill this requirement, and to do so with great relish. The stress of the trial, along with the many prayer requirements imposed on Galileo, and not knowing when he would be returning home, caused Celeste to become very ill, resulting in her death a few months after his return in 1634. He himself wrote of her, "Virginia was a woman of exquisite nature and unique goodness, and was very close to me, and she died over the course of 6 days at the age of 33, and left me in a state of extreme desolation." In 1639, due to the loss of his eyesight, a 17-year-old by the name of Vincenzo Viviani became his secretary and assistant, and lived with him until his death in 1642. Vincenzo Viviani edited the first edition of Galileo's collected works around 1655, and worked tirelessly to have his master's memory rehabilitated. Thank you.